Well, good afternoon, Facebook world. I'm Dr. Nancy Stanley, and somebody's getting ice in the background. Dr. Nancy Stanley, physical therapist, health and life coach, and I'm here with my new friend, which is what's one of the most wonderful things about doing this coaching is I get so many new friends. Danielle Morris and Danielle Bratton. You might know her as Danielle Bratton Morris. She's from down in the Cedar Crossing
in the country.
Yep. And she's a teacher at
Toombs Middle.
Okay.
Teach 8th grade Georgia Studies.
Oh gosh, that's great. Okay. And she, y'all may have seen her earlier with her mama and her sister. And her sister had joined the challenge, Christy, and she did really good. And we talked about it through that challenge. She said, I'd love to get my mama and my sister to do it. I'm like, well, let's just do it. So I'm going to let Danielle tell her story because every time she tells it, I get really emotional.
I do too.
Because it's truly a transformation. I was even just mentioning it to my daughter earlier. I'm like, the part you tell about how you had pulled back from life and you didn't. Yeah, you were just hoping nobody would see you and notice, and that's not where we want to be. That's not what God created us for. Okay, so Danielle is gonna tell where she was, where she is, and where she plans to be. And I'm telling you, the girl has lost 41 pounds in 80 days.
Yes, ma'am.
Would you have ever thought that? I mean,
No,
I think you set a goal for 30, didn't you?
Yes, ma'am. And I honestly didn't think I was going to reach that goal to begin with.
Yeah.
That was kind of a far stretch for me. But
why didn't you think you'd reach that goal?
Because I've never gotten past the 20, 25 pound loss mark without going back and adding more weight on top of that weight that I'd lost.
Right.
And that's usually was the cycle for me.
Okay. So how old are you, Danielle?
I'm 34. Just turned 34 October.
Okay. All right. So I'm just going to let her tell the story.
My name's Danielle. Most of you know me by Bratton, but I'm Morris now for 12 years. I have 2 daughters at home. I have an 11-year-old, and I have a 4-year-old who will soon be 5. And that in itself was a challenge with this, but I'm super proud of them, super proud of my husband. But I need to go back, I guess, to the beginning. If you knew me before my weight, I was an athlete. I was petite, about a size 3 my whole young adult life up until I started having children. And that's really when I started gaining the weight. My first daughter, I had a difficult pregnancy, difficult delivery, and then after I had really bad postpartum depression. And with that, I started gaining a little bit of weight, but it just kind of crept up on me. And then I was like, well, it's just a few pounds. I can lose it. No big deal. And then it got to be more. And it got to be a little bit more. And then when I would go out in public and I would see friends that I've known my entire life, they would kind of do that double take with me. Like, I would say hello and they would kind of look like they recognized me, but they didn't even know who I was. And the first time it happened, it was like, maybe I wasn't standing in the right light or something. But after it happened a couple of times, that's when I started withdrawing myself from public at all. Yeah. Because I was like, I felt like I was embarrassed. I was embarrassed to where I had let myself be, and I didn't know how to get back. And that's when I started trying different diets. I tried different pills, different shakes, mix this in your drink twice a day. Quit eating, doing the soft drinks. And then I was like, well, I'll just have the diet drinks instead. And now I know that that didn't do me any good at all. And I just couldn't get past, maybe I'd lose 20 pounds and then I wouldn't lose any more. But the big thing too was I never felt good, even with that weight. Whereas now, the more weight I lose and the more I'm sticking with Dr. Stanley here and our ladies in our group, the better I'm feeling about myself. I feel healthier. And I never had that feeling before. And that's what's kept me going forward with this revival of myself. That's what I like to call it. I've reviving myself, and it's addressed all aspects for me, not just my weight loss. I've dropped inches. I've dropped about 4 pant sizes. But it addressed me spiritually. It kind of woke that part of me that I've kind of kept pushed to the side. It's introduced me to lots of new people who, and we help each other. I think that's one of my favorite parts, the Marco Polo app. We are constantly encouraging one another. We get to get on there and not feel guilty when we mess up, because all of us do. And it's okay. And we know that we have the tools to get back on the wagon, as we say.
Yeah.
And, but after a few years of trying that, I decided I wanted to go back to school and get my master's so that I could go to work, because I was a stay-at-home mom this whole time.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, maybe that's going to help me. Let's get out and do what I really want to do for me. And then I was expecting my second child, and that pregnancy was even worse than my first. And I gained about 80 pounds
Wow.
with her, and I already was overweight.
Yeah.
So I just couldn't get it off, and I gave up. I gave up. I had no more interest in trying to lose weight. I was accepting that this was going to be who I am from here on out, and that was just going to be it for me. Yeah. And that's when my sister started your program. And she started losing these pounds and inches, and I was getting a little jealous, and I seen she was on here watching, so don't be taking that to heart. I'm usually not jealous.
All right. Yeah.
But I was jealous of her because I wasn't able to, I hadn't grasped that before.
That you could do it.
And she
you were surprised that she was doing it.
I was, because she's a junk food person, always has been, and she had totally quit, but she was happier. She was out more because she had kind of gotten a little bit to herself too. And I was like, I want that, but it was almost like I was too scared to even go there, because then that would just be another failure.
Yes.
And so
let's stop there. I hate to interrupt you, but
Yes,
I'll stop
ma'am.
there. But you know, there's somebody out there that is thinking this. What Danielle was thinking is, you know, if I try that and I fail again, then that's just another failure. And you can't handle the thought of another failure. And I've had so many clients to tell me that I was scared to call you. And so if that's what you're feeling, just know that that is a normal feeling. It is normal when you have failed. But here's what I want to tell you. You haven't tried this. And I believe that it's the best program out there for people that have failed and that need the support. I think, you know, there are people that can do these shakes and they can work out hard and they can quit this and quit that and they can make it happen. But that's not most people that have been overweight for a long time. No. There is a reason. And what we do is we get to that reason. And your reason was that you had failed. And you didn't see a way, and you had pretty much given yourself permission to be like you were.
I did.
Even though you're miserable.
I was completely miserable. Yeah. It affected all aspects of my life. It affected my interaction with my children. I wasn't I considered myself a good mother, but I couldn't get out and do things like I wanted to with them, and I was embarrassed too, on top of that. And it affected my marriage. We had a rough time with that, because I didn't want to go anywhere with him. When he wanted to go places, I didn't want to go. Yeah. But you know, now I'm able to do more with my kids. I'm putting myself out there more. My husband is eating what I'm cooking, which and he likes it. Beginning. He does,
and he likes it.
He likes it, and he's lost 15 pounds himself.
Oh, gosh.
And he flaunts that around too. But you know, it's helped in not just one area of my life. It's helped in all areas for me.
Yeah. Well, you know, I do say this. I've had so many people say to me, once I got the food thing down and kind of under control, then I started cleaning up the house, cleaning out my closet, doing my hair, so many things. But it's almost like when the food thing is out of control, then everything's out of control. So good for you, Danielle.
And you give us those tools.
Yeah.
The tools. Why are you eating this? Because
Right.
before you just were told to eat this and this or
Yeah.
not eat this, and you give us more of the reasoning behind it. How is it helping our bodies? How is it hurting our bodies?
Right.
And that kind of gets your mindset to think about things completely differently, have a completely different view of food,
Yeah.
of fueling your body instead of just eating because it comforted me.
Yeah, it was your birthday a few days ago, and you told me about the was it the Dairy Queen? Mm-hmm. Tell that story. I love that.
Yes, I'd planned a treat for myself because it was my birthday and I hadn't had anything outside of what we are, supposed to have. And I told myself that I could have some cheesy bread from Hardware Pizza, and I was going to go get some kind of ice cream because I loved ice cream and pizza. And me and my family, my girls and my husband, we went to Hardware Pizza and I ordered the cheesy bread, and I ate a couple bites and I looked at my husband and I just said, this is not as enjoyable and as good as I thought it was going to be. And my girls ended up eating most of it. And then afterward, my husband was like, well, aren't we going to Dairy Queen to get you an ice cream? And I was like, no, I don't. Because I'd already, just the little bit that I ate, my body just reacted completely I'm used to it when I eat that kind of food.
Yeah.
Usually it's the comfort and a soothing when I used to eat it. And now you can tell I was putting something that was not good for my body in my body.
So your relationship with food has changed.
It has.
The way you view food has changed, and just everything about the whole eating.
It has. It has. And it's not anything. It's never put in a negative light.
Okay,
Everything's positive.
You get to
with
do
us.
this. You get to.
Everything.
You don't have to.
And before, that was my mindset. I had gotten into a negative mindset about everything, and now I'm looking at the more positive, side of things.
Yeah.
And
so
that
even like
changes
coming to do this interview, you probably would have been
I wouldn't have.
never done it. But you're like, I get to do this. I get to share my story, and I love that. I love the first time we talked about it. I was like, whoa, she's new in the. I mean, usually I don't interview people until like the second challenge. But I'm like, she's so excited. I'm gonna ask her if she'll do the interview. And she's like, yes, I will. So that's awesome.
Yeah, my sister, when we first came to interview the first time to start the program, I didn't even know I was coming.
Right.
My mom and my sister tricked me into coming. They said, get dressed, we're going somewhere, and I had an interview and I started this program.
We sat right here at this table.
It is the best decision and the best push they could have given me. It was a gift. It was a gift for me.
Yeah, yeah. And here's what I say, when the student is ready, the teacher appears. And you're a teacher, and you know that. You have students that they're not ready to learn. You can try to force them into it, whatever. But there's somebody out there today that's going to hear this, whether you're watching the replay. Just make a comment, put pound replay, share this video. That's really love when you see people that are struggling, that are suffering, and that are drawing back and having health issues, and you share some information, what worked for you. And that's why people will do these interviews, is because they know there's somebody out there like them. They remember being in that place and thinking, I need that, but I don't think I can do it. So I'm just going to tell you, I'm going to do everything I can to help you be successful if you join this next challenge. And so is Danielle.
Yes, I'll be there.
She's going to be in the next challenge. I've got a bunch of my folks that are in this challenge that are going to keep going. Yeah. So Deborah just said she's your role model.
My
and
sister's
the
talking.
skin. Talk about your skin.
Yes, me and my sister suffer from rosacea, and we get really red-faced, and mine had gotten extremely bad. My face would look sunburnt all the time. It would be raw skin, and that's how I felt all the time. I would be so embarrassed by it. and I'd try to cover it up with makeup, but it wouldn't even adhere to the skin because it was almost like there was no layer there, and it would make it worse. And I would say just after a couple weeks of being in this revival, this challenge, and my skin started to clear up, and I don't even hardly wear makeup at all.
Well, this girl just taught school all day, and look at her. I'm like, I would be so haggard looking, but you don't even have any makeup.
No, I don't wear a lot of makeup. I've never had.
You got beautiful skin.
I love that I can do that again.
Yeah.
Because I'm not one for a lot of makeup and things, and I'm glad I don't have to do that, and I can feel confident in that when I go places.
So I'm going to post her before and after pictures, and we're not even through with this challenge. So I feel like you're probably going to, when you think about it, she's losing 2 pounds a day, which is more than I normally would have recommended when I used to coach. But now I know because of fasting. So she's on a 24-hour fast. Tell me about fasting. Did you think you could do that? Did that scare you at first?
It scared me because it was a couple weeks into the challenge. You challenged us to do a 24-hour fast, and I was like, oh my, I just don't know if I can do this. And
what were the thoughts about why you couldn't? What was it?
I hadn't been able to do that since I can remember being a teenager. Of course, I'd skip some meals, but since I started putting on the weight, I just thought I had to have it, and it was scary to me because I thought I might not be able to do it. Yeah. That little little
that
norm
voice
on my shoulder saying, you can't do that. You've got to have food. And that first time I made it, the 24 hours was the best thing ever because I realized I could do it. And I started doing it almost on a daily basis because I realized I wasn't hungry, really. And it wasn't time for me to fuel my body. And
you are hydrating during that time. You're drinking.
I do drink. That's all I drink is water, and I drink it throughout the day.
You don't even do coffee or the bulletproof coffee?
I do on the mornings now. I started doing. I didn't at first, but I started now because it helps me. And I'm going to attempt to go past my 24 hours today. So we'll see how that goes. I keep hearing everybody on the Marco Polo app telling me that they're doing it, and I'm like, well, I'm going to try that.
You can. You can. You
but,
totally can.
You
Once you get into ketosis, and that's why she said, I don't encourage you to fast until you actually get into ketosis, and you'll know when that is, and we'll tell you when that is, and then I, actually have videos and show you how to do it. It's not complicated, but if you don't do it the right way, you won't be successful. So I want to say this. There are 4 things successful people do. Number 1, they have a burning desire. She didn't have that at the beginning, but she saw it in her sister, and it was that jealousy. But I don't think that's really the right term as much as it is like just desire. I think it was a desire for change for yourself, but you were. Here's what I say. People are covered up with their past failures. And so they can't peek out. They can't get enough light to see that they could do it. And that's what I like to do is peel the layers off and say, okay, if I can do it, you can do it. It's just a matter of 1, having the burning desire. Number 2, having a plan, and that's what I give you. Number 3 is shutting up the naysayers, and she was talking about Norm. Norm sits on your left shoulder. He talks to you all day, and the reason he sits on your left shoulder because he's never right, and you have to learn how to kick him to the curb, and that's part of the program, is learn how to meditate, how to be mindful, how to create a new script that the conversation in your head. And the third thing is hush the naysayers. And the 4th thing is a community. And you met all these people that you never knew before.
And that's been awesome. And holding each other accountable, but in a positive way. Usually when you say you're holding each other accountable, it ends up being a negative connotation, but it's so positive. And they are such sweet, great ladies. They've all been pretty successful, and I'm super proud of them for that. And most of them I've never met person to person, but you just feel the sense of community between us.
That's right. It's like a new group. It's like a new inner circle. And you know what I say? You're only as good as your inner circle. And so most of these ladies, when they came to me, they didn't have anyone in their inner circle that could bring them forward, okay? But you joined a group of people that had been doing it, that some of them had already been doing it, and then, with a coach, it's like, okay, I can move forward now with the help. And that's kind of the iron sharpening iron.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, Danielle, is there anything else you want to tell? There's somebody out there that, yeah.
Join, because you will not regret it. It's been wonderful. I don't regret it. I continue to keep doing it for the rest of my life. This is not just, you know, the diet for me. It's a lifestyle choice. It's a lifestyle change. I don't want to view it as a diet.
No, it's
You
not.
know,
It's not a diet. It's the
view
way.
it that way.
It's the way you exist. The diet is what you eat, but it's the way you think about what you're eating, and that's what's so. What I love to see when I began to see her transformation, because at the beginning you were, you know, it was kind of like struggle, and then it's all of a sudden things started changing, and that's when you see hope. You know, when you can have hope that things can be better, that things can be different, and that you can do it, and you've got somebody there to support you is when it works. Okay, so message me. I'm starting a new challenge, and I'm going to offer 20 slots, so don't miss a slot. And I've got probably about 10 in this challenge that are going to come forward. So I'm not counting those, because those are not newbies. Those are ones. And then I'll have other people that have done my challenges in the past that'll jump in. But I look forward to seeing you, hearing from you. I'm going to do a video tonight about stress and how it causes your body to store fat, and 5 tips that can help you get rid of stress. So I'm looking forward to seeing y'all there. So thank you so much, Danielle. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye.